Greetings, people of the world! Matthew back with you here in Overall Autism for the continuation and the conclusion of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. It is year 2, day 81 for EDSS and the Realm Reborn. And last time we were asked to come here to Ul'dah to be part of a banquet. And so we will take part of it. We also found some interesting suspicions that are going on, though, with the Crystal Braves. There are people that could be getting bought by someone. And also we noticed the strange vial that was at a place where we're actually expecting one of the Crystal Braves. But right now, none of that matters. Because right now, this lady-in-waiting is expecting us as Warrior of Light, even though we've been stripped of the title long ago by Mr. Midgard Somir, to meet with Sultana Nanamo Ul'namo in private. So, let's not keep the lady-in-waiting waiting any longer. Let's go ahead and speak with her. Thank you for coming, sir. Her Grace is most eager to speak with you. If you require a moment to compose yourself before your audience, you may have it. Or if you are ready, it would be my honor to escort you to Her Grace's chambers forthwith. So yeah, upon proceeding to the Sultana's bedchamber, several cutscenes will play in sequence. It is recommended that you set aside sufficient time to view these scenes in their entirety. So now, what I'm going to do is that I am going to pretty much allow this final series of cutscenes to play themselves. I won't be offering commentary here, I'll just be allowing the scene to play out. I will offer an alternate video with cutscene on another day, but for now, I think it best to allow all these characters to bring this game to its conclusion. So, let's go ahead and meet with the Sultana and begin on our way.
Enter. Your Grace, your guest has arrived. Pray, come in, and take your ease.
"'Tis well that the steps of faith held against the Horde.
And what of the city proper?
We sustained some few losses, but the heart of our nation yet beats with vigor. I am not certain I could say the same had we not received your most generous aid.
An attack on Ishgard is an attack on the realm. We stand together or fall divided.
Such noble words, after the fact.
I had hoped to speak in the presence of Her Grace, but it seems she has been delayed. That being the case, now would seem as good a time as any. Honored friends, pray allow me to convey Ishgard's warmest gratitude for your part in the defense of our lands. 'Tis upon the success of this very alliance that my recommendation to throw open the gates of judgment shall be founded. With the blessing of the Archbishop, it is my hope that Ishgard will soon be reunited with her long-estranged sister nations, and that Eorzea shall once more be as one.
Very well.
Is aught amiss?
Nothing to worry about. I shall return anon. You wished a word, Yu Hase?
You may go. Your Grace. You must be curious as to the reason for this private audience. The matter I would discuss, however, will soon make apparent the need for discretion. I intend to abdicate the throne and dissolve the monarchy. You have seen for yourself the storm of turmoil that howls through our streets. The government fails in its responsibilities, and my subjects suffer the consequences of our incompetence. But I will see them suffer no longer. The victory feast shall provide the stage on which I declare the dissolution of the Sultanate. 'Tis mine intent that the ruling class of our golden city should take its place beside the common man in a fair and equitable republic. No more shall this nation bow to the whims of a privileged few. Yet, that which I propose will entail the tearing up of this city's very foundations. And even Reborn, with all his strength and influence, will be hard-pressed to keep his footing on such treacherous ground. Thus would I ask you to lend him a steadying hand. You who have endured the wrath of innumerable foes are the one hero in whom I can place my trust. Will you do this thing for me? I am truly grateful. More grateful than I can well express. Much of my dread for the coming days has been quieted.
Your Grace! Her Grace, the Sultana, is dead. Poison in her wine? You did this!
Spare us your denials! I see no other suspects, and the room has but the one entrance. I I hereby accuse you of regicide! Men, arrest this viper!
Sir, barring a few exceptions, we have detained all those with allegiance to the Scions. The Rising Stones is also under our control.
And what do you hope to achieve with this mutiny?
Why, that which we have striven for all along, Commander. The salvation of Eorzea.
What is the meaning of this?
Knights from the homeland. This cannot bode well.
Lord Commander, we have received an urgent message from the Holy See. I am grieved to report that your serpentine foes have resumed their assault. Needless to say, your presence is urgently required. These knights have come to bear you swiftly home to Ishgard.
A surprise attack?
We've had no such word from our men, and the timing is most fortuitous to catch us away from the city.
Most fortuitous indeed.
Lord Commander, we must away!
You have been a most gracious host. I hope that I might one day return the favor. Come, Lucia.
Whatever is going on in there? Ah, the ever-dutiful brass blades. I must apologize, but my dance card is rather full. Another time, perhaps?
Thancred, of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. You stand accused of committing acts of espionage in service to the Garlean Empire.
Espionage? What in the seven hells are you talking about? Ah, if you're referring to that business with the Ultima weapon, then you must understand, I wasn't myself.
Under interrogation, an Imperial prisoner revealed your involvement in numerous dealings with the enemy. We've also been investigating reports that you are a practitioner of forbidden arts. You'd best come along with us.
You invite me to your party and now you want me to leave? I do so detest receiving mixed signals. Come then. I believe I've lost my appetite for this farce of a celebration.
You go too far, Lord Adeleji. By what right do you march armed soldiers to a royal banquet and eject state visitors without her grace's consent? You treat the brass blades as your personal army, and show contempt for the throne with your every act. Leave us, now.
Is that an order, General? Mayhap you have mistaken me for one of your flames. You will find I am not so slavishly obedient. As you lecture me on personal armies. As for your outrageous claim that I have shown contempt for the throne, let all here observe that it was not I who feasted, while an assassin removed its occupant. I expect this is your idea of defending the nation, is it? This and diluting our forces through these distractions in Cartano and Kurthis. I do begin to see how the ranks of the Immortal Flames came to be riddled with Garlean sympathizers. You are plainly unfit for command.
Wait, goddamn you. Your words make no sense. What assassin?
You mean to say you don't know? We caught the vaunted champion of the Scions in her Grace's private chambers, not moments after the deed was done.
No! No, this cannot be!
Save your breath. You will need it to plead your case. You and your entire order are to be tried for this atrocity. Bring in the prisoner!
This man stands accused of poisoning Her Royal Majesty Nanamo Ul'Namo, and as suspected accessories to the crime, all members of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn will be detained for questioning.
This is madness!
What a pity. Who'd have thought your tale would end like this?
Should you demand further proof, a vial with traces of the substance used to poison her grace was found upon the assassin's person.
How very convenient.
You would speak of convenience? Who persuaded her grace to host this celebration? A diversion which presented you and your confederates ample opportunity to commit the crime, and a crowd within which to fade from view. A more convenient occasion I could scarcely imagine.
How dare you! After all we have done for Ul'dah!
Hold your tongue, witch! I'll not be ensorcelled! I know all about the dark gift that you and your disciples wield. Oh yes, I've observed how you worked upon the minds of the Alliance leaders, bending them to your will. And what of your cordial relationship with Sir Emmerich? For years, Ishgard abjured all contact with the outside world, and now the Lord Commander of the Temple Knights treats you with the familiarity of a childhood friend. I'll tell you what I think. I think this desperate defense of Ishgard was but a ruse to deceive us into dividing our forces. Your next move will be to charm your Kurthan allies into invading our lands. Now that is truly ridiculous.
How do you even think of this stuff?
She cannot be dead. Stand aside, Ilbert. I want to see the Sultana.
Spare yourself the pain, brother. I saw her with my own eyes. For a mercy, the poison took her swiftly. Her handmaiden can attest to that.
This cannot be. Nanamo.
Plainly, the Royalists can no longer be relied upon to keep our nation safe. And so it falls to the monitorists of the Syndicate to govern Ul'dah. But should you wish to help us, General, we would be more than happy to entrust the task of planning Her Grace's funeral to you. It seems only right that you should bury your precious Sultana, and we will be glad to be rid of that burden.
I'll bet you will. You more than any man.
Whatever do you mean?
I mean you had her killed, you black-hearted bastard!
What rot! Though I did have sufficient motive, 'tis true. That young lady caused me no end of grief. She always was a most unwilling puppet. I dare say Her Grace was grateful that someone thought to cut her strings.
You would mock her, then mock her from hell!
Have you lost your mind, General? It is forbidden to draw steel in the royal chambers, much less slaughter our fellow Syndicate members. You're one of them! You've been in league with the Scions all along!
You're next, you scheming bastard!
Reborn!
Seven hells!
Admiral, we must leave.
How unlike you, old friend. I did not expect to take your arm so easily.
Take the Scions into custody. They have conspired to commit regicide. And arrest this traitor as well.
Gilbert, I hope you choke on their coin.
'Tis better than the dirt I've supped on these long years. We can't all abandon Alamigo and become great war heroes as you have. You are not the man you once were, Reborn. Since that girl strapped the yoke around your neck, you've become docile. She took the mad bull and cut off his balls, and a bull that cannot rot is fit for naught but slaughter. Shall I tell you who really killed your precious Sultana? It was me.
You die! never doubted you, not for a moment. But there is more to this than I yet understand. Flee this place. Clear your names. Find out who is behind this plot. It is the only way. Now go!
Ah, there you are.
Thancred! Where have you been?
Avoiding the fumbling advances of some very persistent admirers. When I realized the celebrations had turned sour, it seemed prudent to slip away and take stock of the situation. 'Twould appear that much of the city is already under tight guard. It occurs to me that expanding the Brass Blade's authority may not have been such a wonderful idea after all.
The success of this plan was contingent upon those thugs having the run of the place. Just how long has this scheme been in motion?
The careful preparations, the maneuvering of forces. I am inclined to agree with the General's insistence that a deeper plot exists here.
So, would I be right in thinking we now have an excuse to pummel as many brass blades as we like?
Unless you plan on pummeling them all, I'm not sure that will greatly aid our cause.
The Sultana's assassination was but one part of the scheme. We too were its targets. And though we did not share Pononimo's fate, we are yet hobbled by the charges laid at our door. Where now might we seek refuge?
Where indeed, we may safely assume that our foe has thought to have the Rising Stones watched.
Forgive me for stating the obvious, but our choice of destination will matter little if we cannot secure an escape route out of Ul'dah. Happily, I believe I can provide one. Papashan once told me about the passages hidden in the walls of the palace. If I recall correctly, the fireplace in Animo's chambers conceals the entrance to a tunnel. It should lead outside the city and allow us to avoid any messy confrontations.
The rest of you go on ahead. I'll handle this lot.
By yourself? I suppose I shall just have to join you.
Crystal Braves too, huh? Now this should be interesting.
Ida! Papalimo!
We will hold our pursuers here. Hurry, now! Find this tunnel of Thancred's.
Minfilia, we cannot linger!
understand, look what you've done.
Ida, are you all right? There are just too many of them.
I'm fine. I could do this all day. How about you?
Nearing the end of my tether.
This is so stupid. We're the scions of the Seventh Dawn. The ones who stand between this realm and the evil that's trying to destroy it.
And if you think we'll leave the stewardship of Eorzea to the likes of your masters, then you're sorely mistaken.
Sorry I dragged you into this, Papalymo.
'Tis hardly the first time, and I'll be damned if it will be the last. Let them have it, Ida!
I was hoping you'd say that.
I never knew such a watercourse existed beneath Ul'dah.
The architecture is of the Sildine style, if I'm not mistaken. The ancients plainly foresaw the need for a ready means of escape.
This way!
Well, that didn't take long. It seems these tunnels were not as secret as I'd hoped.
You two, go on ahead. Thancred and I will deal with this.
What do you mean to do?
Only that which is required to ensure that the dawn's light survive to brighten the morrow.
Fear not, antecedent. You haven't seen the last of these fair features.
My friends.
Leave us!
What is the plan, milady? Shall I take the dozen on the left and you the dozen on the right? The odds are not exactly stacked in our favor.
Numbers will count for little when I bring the tunnel down upon their heads. Though I cannot say I relish the thought of being entombed with you for all eternity.
You wound me. I will have you know that many a maid would kill for the chance to spend forever at my side. Now, may I have the last dance? This is going splendidly. Now would be a good time, milady!
'Tis done. Forgive me, Mitra.
Farewell, Ophelia.
Hydaelyn, she speaks to me. No. I must remain behind, but you cannot stay with me. Please, you must go on. You are the warrior of light. You are hope for the Scions and for all the realm. As long as your flame continues to burn, the light of the dawn may ever be relit. You must escape and save Eorzea from those who would plunge it into darkness. Tis the only way.
I am glad to see you safe, my friend. What of the others? Damn that man! Teleji played me for a fool! I thought the Crystal Brave's mine till the very moment I felt the blade at my back.
There will be ample time for soul-searching later. For now, we must put some arms between us and Ul'dah.
Well, would you look who it is? Need a ride? I doubt it'll be half as exciting as the last trip we took. Not if I have anything to say about it anyway. Let's not dawdle, eh? All aboard! I was stocking up on supplies over in Vesper Bay, you see, when your sister come up and begged a favour. said her brother was having some trouble down in Ul'dah, and likely needed a helping hand getting away. Thinking them ruins would make a fine hiding place, I decided to try there first. And lo and behold, there you were! Aye, and judging by them soldiers as were pouring out of the city, I arrived not a moment too soon. Ha! It must have been fate that we happened to find you there, though, eh?
I had thought to look out for Alize, but it would appear she was the one watching over me. I've made such a mess of things.
And who might you be, young sir?
Pippin Taropin, Vice Marshal of the Immortal Flames. I had been on the Alamegan front these past few moons, but an urgent communication called me back to Ul'dah. Scarce had my boots touched the cobbles, though, when the streets erupted with cries of assassination. I immediately went in search of answers, and came across Master Alfino here. Needless to say, I did not think his imprisonment justified. The blame plainly lies with the Monitarists. Their greed and corruption are well known to me, but for them to take advantage of the situation with such alacrity...
Was that Pippin, you said? Ain't that the name of General Alden's lad?
Yes, I am his son. Adopted, of course. 'Twas only as we were leaving Ul'dah that I learned of father's fate. Once I have seen you a safe distance away, I mean to return to the city and extricate him from this madness.
Then you needn't travel no further than Blackbrush. Our fugitives have a friend waiting for them there.
I dreamed of bringing about Eorzea's salvation, but in the end, 'twas I who needed saving.
Yeah, I guess this is now where I finally step back in. Them soldiers that keep searching for a while yet, reckon we'll take the carriage back towards Ul'dah and get the lay of the land. May I provide a distraction if need be. You three wait here. Help will be along shortly. Stay strong, friends. The real fight's to come. Of course. Thank you, Bremen. Thanks, Bremen. It's been a long time since we've seen you. Alright, let's go. Yeah, he was the one who... the merchant who rode with us back on day one. Back in year one. In fact, no, if you go to a different city, or if you start the game in a different city, one of his brothers is the one who you meet, and they are the one who escorts you out of Ul'dah when it's all said and done. So yeah, I think we need to change into something a little more inconspicuous. What would be a good fit here? No, it wouldn't be that. Well, I don't... Sure, dressing up in Ul'dah gear would be a good idea, but I think in this instance, I need to go with something a little more apropos. And just pass myself off as just a regular adventurer again. Yeah, that's more like it. Alright, Pippin. The most unassuming folk can prove to be our greatest allies. That fellow was but a passing merchant, yet he lent us his aid without a moment's hesitation, nor any hint of concern for his own safety. Though I can well imagine how a man could feel inspired to risk it all in your presence. Father often spoke of you, lady, and I have long looked forward to our first meeting. Needless to say, this is not at all how I envisioned it. Master Alfinod, you must not give in to despair. that would only play into our enemy's hands. So long as you and Edie are free, we may still set things right. Forgive me, Marshal Towerpin, but Alphino, my boy! Sorry to keep you waiting! Now, who's that coming along? It's our old friend Sid! Sid, what are you doing here? Pulling you out of the fire, as usual. Your merchant friend told me everything. Truly, then he is no merchant, but an angel in peddler's clothing. But tell us, how do you intend to bear our friends to safety? I hid the Enterprise but a short distance away. All I need is a destination. But where can we go? We must find a place beyond the reach of both the Monitarists and the Crystal Braves. Carthus, Ishgard will not suffer the intrusion of foreign forces into their territory. That settles it. With me, everyone. What the heck's going on up there? Not I fear. I must remain here. I dare not abandon Ul'dah to the Monitarists and their cronies. You may be certain that they will seek to defame you, both here and in the other city-states, but know that I shall do my utmost to thwart that every effort. Frankly, I do not expect it to be much of a challenge. The small folk will not turn so easy on the Warrior of Light and his allies, no matter what the Monitarists claim. Marshal Towerpin, I know not what to say. Huh, now that father would able to believe. But enough talk, you must go, Master Alphino. Your airship awaits. I guess we shall go. So we have to make a break for it, and sure enough, there is the airship. There's the Enterprise waiting for us. Up! Up! There's no rest for the righteous! I would agree wholeheartedly with that. So, let's get out of Dodge. Because we're going to need to dodge a whole lot of brass blades and crystal braves, too. Yeah, treason lurked all about, and we ended up on the wrong end of things. And now we find ourselves back in Carthus. Just myself, Sid, and Alphino. Our mighty group has been reduced to a mere 3. And we touched back down on cold snows in Carthus. Yeah, I guess Sid's gonna be on his way, but where's he gonna go to? I mean, considering everything that's happened, and knowing that the Crystal Braves control Mordona, he can't necessarily go there. So where can he go? We should make for Camp Dragonhead and speak with Lord Horshathon. Mayhap he will know what to do. I think that's a good idea. But yeah, we have a long walk over there, so now that we have officially set foot in Carthus once again, there's a couple more things I need to do before we head off. And the first is to say goodbye to my Chocobo Lanza, who has been such a wonderful ally over the course of my time here. I don't want to sit in front of him. I want to give him a nice friendly pet to thank him for being with me for 182 videos, because yeah, he's been with me for such a long time, and so he's done his work well. He's really helped out Edie so much, and so it's time for me to bid him farewell and say goodbye. So now let's get out of here. And we'll walk it this time. Or in this case, run it, because, yeah, we have to get ourselves to safety at all costs. So off we go to meet with Lord Horshathon to see how he would assess this situation. What else can I say other than just it hit the fan so badly and so horrendously. And now one has to wonder if we can ever set foot on Eorzean soil ever again. So, let's make our way over into the tower here and speak with Lord Hoshafal. Master Alfino to me, Otelidi. It warms my heart that you should turn to me before all others, and I shall endeavor to deserve your trust. Alas, the situation here has grown more complicated in your absence. It will be best if I explained in full. Alright, you can do that. By doing so, with the game's final quest, Before the Dawn. In times of trouble, there are few things more precious than unconditional support.
There has been word from the capital. Ishgard has weathered another assault, and 'tis said several wyverns broke through into the city proper. The Temple Knights succeeded in slaying the beasts, but the intrusion prompted orders to further strengthen the guard, and to place the city under a perpetual state of alert.
Oh, how reassuring. Yeah, as if things already weren't bad enough.
The loss of our wards at the gates of judgment.
Yeah, because now you have to try and rebuild them somehow.
Sir Emmerich is safely returned from Ul'dah, and once more leads the defense of Ishgard.
Well, that's comforting to know.
As for the matter of your asylum, I am afraid no progress will be made until the threat to our nation is diminished.
Understandable.
But do not despair. You are not without allies. You are more than welcome to shelter here for as long as you wish. Pray, think of it as a new headquarters of sorts. The Falling Snows, or some such.
I like it.
All
very clever of you.
Aside, any who come here in search of you will receive no aid from House Forton. For once, the Ishgardian reputation for inhospitality shall work in our favor.
To keep the Warrior of Light alive, obviously.
Will find their every inquiry dismissed, and their every request for entry rebuffed, until such time as their masters have acknowledged your innocence.
But what of Alphanode?
You once fought to preserve the honor of my dear friend. 'Tis a blessing that I may now repay that debt in kind.
Thank you, Lord Hoshafal.
But let us dwell no more on this. Pray, join the rest of your companions. 'Tis bitterly cold this day. I suspect there are those who might welcome the warmth your presence brings.
Well, thank you for that, Lord Hoshafal. Yeah, but what he's getting at is actually to go over to where the intercessory is. That is over here. So yeah, our journey will end in this little intercessory. And so let's go ahead and bring this journey to a close. Hey, Tataru. Wow, you survived too. Alphanode, Evie, is it really you? Yeah, it's us. We're here and still alive. Oh, she's gonna wall up, of course. I'm so happy that you are. Yeah, there's a lot to think about and a lot to say. I tried contacting Ophelia and the others, but no one would respond. And then Crystal Braves, our own people, turned on us in the marketplace. Philemon told me to run, and so I did. I ran and ran until my lungs burned and my feet ached. But I lost my way, and then... Fortunately, I had observed some of the Braves behaving suspiciously beforehand. Yeah, who is joining us here? Well, that's actually Lady Yugiri. Without her mask, so now we can actually see what she looks like, and why she wore the mask that she did. Yes, my mask, it was lost in the struggle. Pretty, isn't she? Anyway, when Yugiri found me, we traveled to Vesper Bay and met up with Oriange. When he told him what had happened, he used his magics to wave a glamour around the waking sands. From the outside, our old headquarters now looks like an abandoned storehouse. Well, will that necessarily convince Ul'dah? The transformation didn't take long either. Apparently your Yage started making preparations after the Imperial attack, just in case the Empire ever chose us to pay us another visit. Good thinking, eh? Sorry, where was I? Oh yes. So we waited there at the Waking Saints hoping others would come, but no one else did. My people are searching for the other Scions even as we speak, but we have met with no success as yet. I had hoped that you might be able to suggest further places to look. But should you know, the Rising Stones did not share the Waking Sun's good fortune. Only Crystal Braves await you there. Be that as it may, we yet have to cause hope, do we not? If the two of you escaped, it is not impossible that the others could have done so as well. You may have been forsaken by men and women believed true, but rest assured that the people of Doma yet stand with you. We welcome this opportunity to repay our debts and shall continue our efforts to locate the others and see the Scions restored to their rightful place of honor. Thank you for that, Lady Ugiri. It's finally good to put a face to a name now. So yeah, we have to take a load off now.
'Tis all my doing. I believed myself the only one who truly understood Eorzea's woes. And look what that arrogance has wrought. I gave commands, influenced governments with my certainty. I treated the Crystal Braves, and even the Scions themselves, as pawns in my great scheme to save the realm.
Looks of himself as a villain, that's not good.
Rush into imagined glory, I paid no heed to the ground upon which I trod. The salvation of Eorzea. What was it that I hoped to achieve? Did I believe that I could rid the realm of every danger and difficulty? That I could defeat the Empire and the Ascians, and find homes for every refugee? Oh, yes. I was so very clever. Become a guardian of Eorzea, I implored, and sat back to watch my perfect army cleanse the land of chaos, which was all but a means to feed my own vanity. Only when all is lost do I finally realize the truth.
Oh, Alphinaud.
Seems bleak, doesn't it? But we still have the knights, the Temple Knights on our side.
So, Master Alphinaud, are you content to remain a broken blade? Is there no flame hot enough to reforge you? What of the fine companions who yet stand at your side? I dare say the fires of their determination will soon have you slicing the air again with your customary wit.
I hardly deserve such friendship. And besides, where are we to go?
Alphinaud, if I may?
I hope you can knock him out of his
If this place not
depression.
serve our purpose, then we shall go to Ishgard. Minfilia told me many times, as long as we stand fast against despair, the beacon of hope will never be lost to sight. Be it in the snow or in the clouds, we few will see that the dawn's light shines again.
Come on,
You are
she's
right,
crying.
Titania. Thank you. And thank you for your kind words, Lord Orchefon. 'Tis true that Eorzea yet has her guardians.
The few, the proud.
The Scions have achieved much, and 'twould be remiss of me to discard it all in a fit of self-pity. Let us then resume our journey, together, one step at a time.
And so, with that, we now can bring on the last part of this game, which is the credits. But since we've already seen the credits of this game, I'm actually not going to oblige you to watch them again, so I'm going to skip this and we'll just move on. Because they're, if you remember from last year, they're known to be pretty long. Yeah, we want to get to other places in this game as well. Yeah, remember the Lady-in-Waiting and Lord Lodorito? Yeah, those two are working together.
All has been arranged as you desired, my lord.
And so apparently Lodorito's plan will now go into effect in Ul'dah. Is he the one who's going to be taking over? Because with Teleji Adeleji now dead. And in the meantime, at somewhere else in Ul'dah, locked behind a prison door, is a very distraught and three-limbed General Raban. He has a lot to be mad about, and one can only imagine how is he going to get free. I mean, we know his adopted son Pippin will be there to try and get him out. And then, of course, there's the Asians. Yeah, we're not done with these guys, not even close. Yeah, Elidibus and La Habrea. Nabrales is no more. The Ul'dah was not his to invoke. His demise was of his own making. Nevertheless, it concerns me. They have extinguished that which should be rightly be eternal. Mayhap he was not wholly mistaken. Greater haste may be warranted. We are of one mind. The Northern Lands, then. Yeah, because we actually saw those two appear in the Holy See itself. Who knows what could have happened to the Archbishop, the person who governs Ishgard. The earth is fertile, and seeds well sown. By my will they shall reap salvation unlike any the world has known. By his will. Yeah, the Dark Crystal. The dark version of, Heidelin. But there's another person of interest in play here with the Asians. Someone who's actually been in league with them since the, well, who knows how long. This guy. Look familiar? Yeah, Oriange is in league with them. I have answered thy summons, emissary. Speak and make thine intent known. And it's bad enough that we were betrayed by the people who we trusted, but yeah, the Master Scholar himself? I would speak of fate, Archon. Yours, mine, the fate of this very star. Yeah. Bet you never saw that one coming, did ya? A sign of the Seventh Dawn, who is in league with them all along. And as the snows continue to fall on Caerthan soil, we arrive at Ishgard, at the Gates of Judgment, hoping that we might be able to find some solace here. But of course, given the relations with Eorzea and Caerthis, it may not necessarily be easy. And of course, Midgard Solmir is here to accompany us.
Thou thinkest sanctuary lieth beyond.
You don't believe it?
Delusion. Despair. Death. Thou shalt find naught else here.
What can I do to convince you to change your mind there, Midgard Solmir? Yeah, because after you strip me of the power of Warrior of Light, what can I do to convince you? To preserve the Dawn's light, the heroes journey north. Their hearts filled with hope and eyes fixed heaven's ward. Alright, so before we bring this to a close, there's one thing I still want to do. Because we've already said goodbye to Lanza, but there's someone else we need to say goodbye to as well. So, let's go back outside, because hopefully they'll be waiting for me. Yes, there's Sakura. Hey there, Sakura. Yeah, it's been a while. I have missed you. I know that you've done so much for me, and I just want to thank you for everything that you've done. Welcoming me into the Wolves of Fenrir, and helping me with all the quests that we've done over the course of this journey here in Year 2, and for accepting my offer to join not only your free company, but also to take the ceremony of eternal bonding with you. I mean, I really can say that a lot of the success for Edie, it can be attributed to you. Yeah, don't go away yet. I just want to make sure that I do this right. So, Sakura, I want to thank you for everything that you've done, and I wish you nothing but the best. And I hope that we'll cross paths again someday with Edie, but for now I must thank you and bid you farewell. So, oh, no. No, I don't want to take a seat next to you. I just want to bid you farewell and thank you for everything you've done. So, thanks, Sakura. I hope that I will see you again. And so, now that we've taken care of that, let's go ahead and mount my chocobo, and we're gonna take a ride somewhere because there's a particular place that I want to end this journey, so we're gonna go ahead and end it there. So while we're going to that particular spot, I want to take this opportunity to talk about what a crazy journey this has been for me. This has been by far and away the longest LP I've ever done, and will likely ever do. But hey, you never know. I mean, depending on what happens with Final Fantasy XIV Heaven's Ward when it comes out and how much content gets released from there, I mean, who knows how much I'll be able to show off in that game. But to think that this is a Let's Play that, if it wasn't for the likes of people like X-10X and Super Genius doing this on Twitch, I probably would have never thought of doing this as a Let's Play, because in all honesty, I really had no idea that I would actually get so much enjoyment out of this, because I didn't have the best experience with Final Fantasy XIII, because I got game over so many times, and in addition to that, I also had to put up with the fact that I heard about so many negative things about Final Fantasy XIII-2 and also Lightning Returns, as well as the original Final Fantasy XIV, because remember, this is not the original version of Final Fantasy XIV. This is the first expansion of Final Fantasy XIV. So, yeah, I think this is a good place to dismount my chocobo. So, it's just crazy to think that I've covered this much journey in 182 videos. This started out on March 26th, 2014, and who would have ever thought it would go this far? I really cannot help but appreciate everything that I've accomplished with Edie up to this point. I mean, it really is just amazing what we've gone through over the course of the last 14 months with this game. Going from being just a simple adventurer to being made the Warrior of Lights, to defeating the Guardian Empire, to putting a massive wrench in the plans of the Dravanians. But we know that there's still a lot of questions that have left to be unanswered, like now that we're pretty much on the lam, is there any place in Eorzea that we can take safety? Will the people of... we know that we're pretty much outed in Ul'dah. Will the people in Gridania and the Black Shroud and Limsa Lominsa and Lanosea be accommodating of us? Will they actually welcome us back? And also on top of that, knowing that Iceheart is still out there and still poses a threat to the people of Ishgard, how much of a threat will she be? Because, yeah, who knows what they're going to be doing to us. And in addition to that, you have to also take into consideration as well, what will the expansion look like? What will the storyline entail? How much will we have to put up with in terms of progression? Because we know that we defeated the Guardian Empire in Year 1 of A Realm Reborn, but we know that through the storyline that they have prepared to start making advances on Eorzea once again. And even though we've now won the favor of Ishgard, and of Kerthus for that matter, who's to say that we're still going to actually get that? Because, yeah, even though we've won Sir Emmerich's trust and Lord Horshafon's trust and everyone else here in Kerthus, there's still lots to be concerned of in whether or not we can actually get our foot in the door in Ishgard, because it could still take some convincing. And going back to what I said about Iceheart as well, about the fact that she is in a situation where she claims to be working for Hydaelyn. However, I can't help but think that even though she's saying the things that Hydaelyn would have been saying, well, I can't help but think that we might end up eventually in a situation where we actually do have to work alongside her. And that's a pretty creepy thought when you think about it, that the lady that can turn into Shiva could very well be our ally someday in the expansion. So it's certainly a lot to think about as the sun is setting here in Kerthus. Just want to take a look at it and see how awesome it is. Yeah, it's a really nice sunset. You don't get to see many sunsets in Kerthus, but this one is pretty nice. And it's also Edie's last one. And to think that this started because of the fact that I wanted to pay dedication to my high school. And that was the inspiration for the name of this character. EDSS was taken from the initials of the high school that I graduated from, Elmira District Secondary School, whose team name was the warrior class that Edie started out as, which was a Lancer. And so it was really put a tremendous smile on my face to know that we were able to do this, and for me to honor my high school in this unique manner really was something I really had a lot of fun doing. And to know that this happened over the course of not just 1 year, but 2 years. And even though we will no longer be playing with Edie, there's no question that he has certainly made his presence felt on this YouTube channel. And I know that all of you watching will certainly appreciate the fact that he certainly left an impression on all of you, for those of you who've been watching this Let's Play. Whether you started watching this from the beginning, whether you started watching this from year 2, or if you're just coming in late to see how this story ends. Because, yeah, we don't get the happy ending. We get a sad one as we close the chapter. The future of the Eorzean Alliance is still very much up in the air, thanks to what's happened in Ul'dah. I mean, for all we know, Ul'dah could, because of this, break away and pretty much sever the Eorzean Alliance right then and there. And then we could very well see the land of Eorzea go into civil war. I mean, there are so many possibilities that are going to be coming up as we go into the expansion next month that I really don't know what we're going to be seeing, but you can pretty much expect that some of the things that I've talked about will likely be happening. But it's time, I dare say, as the sun sets very appropriately on EDSS here in the Realm Reborn, that my journey should end here in the southeast corner of Kerthus, because once we cross over past these barricades, this is, of course, the place where we came to fight Gilgamesh here in Kerthus, was Griffin Crossing and the battle on the Big Keep. Yeah, that's so cool that I get to have my last name used in this game as a part of the territory here in Kerthus. I just really appreciate that and thought that's just so awesome that they would do something like that. So it's at this point, I guess, that we're going to zoom in on Edie and take a look at him for the last time, because as I mentioned before, this is the last time you're going to be seeing him. However, this is not the last time you will be seeing a Final Fantasy XIV video, because as I mentioned, next month we will start on the expansion, and with it, a brand new Let's Play. And so, with that, I'd like to thank everyone for watching my Let's Play of Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn, and I look forward to seeing you all in my next Let's Plays, as well as on June 23rd, when Final Fantasy XIV Heaven's Ward gets underway. Until, as we have Edie take one last curtain call, this is Matthew at Novora Autism, saying take care, and I'll see you soon.